notes over here. So Lucas, welcome to this debriefing session, and congratulations on a 720. Good quant score, great verbal score. So Q48, V40. So how does it feel? It's been some time since you've started preparing. So
yeah, it's feel really really good. It's like achieving everything I was chasing for the past almost 1 year, so feels really good.
okay, so we talked about your 2 attempts, and you took the GMAT once sometime towards the end of last year, and then you spend the next few months preparing again and to get that 720. So let's talk about your preparation during the first attempt. What was the attitude, and how did you prepare during that first attempt?
I went through the online courses, but I believe I wasn't so aware of how I should do the review and how to attack my weak points. So I just will go running through questions and make some mistakes and assuming some things and not taking notes really that could really mean for me when I would read them later. And when I get to my first attempt, I wasn't really very confident. My quant, actually, I believe that I had a good basis for quant, but I wasn't good in timing strategies and letting questions go. So I would always get stuck in some questions. So when I concluded the first attempt, I knew I had to improve some points.
So, and I want to just talk about one other thing about that first attempt. So how much time do you think you spent studying before you took that first attempt?
I would, let's say, I studied for 3 months, and I would study 2 hours a day, but not every weekend. And that was a important thing as well, because not every weekend I used it to study by the first attempt, and in the second attempt the weekends was the best time to improve and take the mock tests.
So there's the impact and consistency as well over there. Okay, that is but this was still a considerable amount of time. So if you're studying 40 days or 20 days a month, then it's about 40 hours a month, and it's 3 months, about 120 hours for the first attempt, which is quite a bit of time that you spent in doing this. Now let's talk about the second attempt. So you took the first attempt, you had like a 650, 660, somewhere around that, and so what was the change with the second attempt?
I would say in verbal, when you see my first attempt, it wasn't that bad score, but so I was really aware of every part of the exam and all the types of questions. I was kind of aware of what were my weak points, but I lacked consistency in some types of questions, mainly in critical reasoning and also reading comprehension. And so I knew I had to keep the grip during for some sentence correction. That was actually, I just had to keep my consistency, but I had to improve in those other areas. So I just kept doing mock tests just to keep my momentum, let's say like that, and do the reviews and separate like schedules to just go to my weaker areas. And I had a notebook where I would take all my mistakes and I would read this every morning.
Okay. So I think let's go back. You talked about the 3 stages of learning. You said you kind of realized the 3 stages of learning during your second attempt. What kind of made you realize that?
You mean when I realized that?
Yes.
I think in the a week or two after my first attempt, okay. I was just by that point I wasn't very organized, and I wasn't really look at what my mock tests at e-GMAT were telling me. And when I realized all the targets for my mock tests, easy mock tests, and then what should I achieve on median, and what should be my consistency and my accuracy and all this kind of thing. And I had metrics, and I just go and then but when I realized all that, I just started going to achieve
so you went just
the
step by
metrics.
step and said these are the metrics. So when you took the cementing quizzes, you said this is what I need to achieve in cement. This is medium cementing quiz. This is what I need to achieve. This is a hard cementing quiz. I need to achieve at least 50% accuracy over there.
Yes,
So
yes. And I was just before the first attempt, I was just taking mock tests with multiple kind of tests of questions. And after that, let's just attack syntax correction, then go to reading comprehension, and then do the both together. And then I would go to reading comprehension, and then get good in reading comprehension, do all the three together, and so on.
And I mean, you in some of these you did really, really well. I can see over here some RC cementing quizzes. Here on 2nd of May, you scored 100%. Medium over here, you actually scored a 75% over here. So, I mean, you did hit these metrics as we look at this here.
Yes, yes. So and everybody I would see to take one of these tests, it was kind of that feeling of taking a real test. So I had to take about 70 or 80. And when I did, and by the close to my second attempt, I was just in get these scores, and it wouldn't vary. I wouldn't get a 40 and then a 90. Yeah. It was just going through the same kind of level of score.
And so the variation wasn't there at all. That's good. And that's always good. You have the consistency over there. Now, how did you do the review? You said you also looked at the strategic review piece over there.
Sorry, kind of.
So I said you mentioned about the strategic review. So
yeah.
How would you review your mistakes?
Actually, I followed what you guys say in the videos and everything. But I remember Sentence Correction has some specific strategic review. So I would categorize my mistakes and just is this an approach mistake or is this a concept mistake? And in the beginning was much more concept, and by the end was some attention point that I just should focus, or some application problem that I would just to rewatch the application videos. And so in the beginning was really it would really take me a long time to do the strategic, doing it in a proper way. The mistakes are just keep disappearing, and by the end of the preparations was just some points or little mistakes or some attention concerns and some little things that I just would have to correct.
So when you did this strategic review, and this is a really important point that you talked about. So initially when you saw the strategic review videos that we sent over, it seemed that it took you a lot of time, but you were very consistent in doing this. You spent that time doing that review.
Yeah. Someone told me in the beginning that the review is something very important to the GMAT, but before I take this approach, this structured approach, it was something just lost. Let me just do the review. But when you have some structured approach and some things to follow, it was really more easy just to categorize my mistakes and to take the correct actions to address that mistakes and evolve and so on.
So when you did the strategic review, did you kind of take some notes somewhere? Did you put it down in some sort of an error log? What did you do?
By the end of my preparation, yes. What I would do when the strategic review was something like in application files or in concept files, I would just make summaries and I would use them to review the concepts and everything. But by the end of the preparation, I mean by the last month before the exam, I had an error log, and it was more like some common mistakes that I would make, and then I would review them. But I used the e-GMAT platform a lot to to see what were my mistakes and to understand what were my failures. And
got it. Okay, that's good to know. And well, I'm glad. I mean, you've solved 900 questions. I'm seeing that over here, which is quite a few questions that you've solved. So what kind of so how would you look at your mistakes in the platform?
Since I was, taking a lot of questions, it doesn't show nothing more than the reality. I knew that I was not that good in some quant parts, and if you look at my scholar, you can see it clear that we have some above average and some other parts that are not that that good. And so I would just keep in doing the questions in the review, and I would compare my last scores with my average and just see if I was evolving and how I was feeling good.
Got it. Now, when so this was the verbal part. Now, in the second attempt in sentence correction, so because you did all of this, I'm assuming when you were solving questions in sentence correction, you were using the meaning-based approach then?
Yes, a lot.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, because if I believe that GMAT is all about logic, even verbal. So sometimes the grammar part may seem obscure and hard to understand, but when it goes to the meaning based, things get more clear and more logical. And by the end, the grammar is just a background that you have to know some rules and play with the rules well. But in the end, it's just that there is a meaning in that sentence, and you got to intend that the right meaning, and just the grammar must follow this.
Okay. And you're not a native speaker of English language. So how did you approach reading comprehension, which a lot of people who are non-natives, they feel difficulty with reading comprehension?
Yes, it was tough to me, mainly because the practicing is more, at least for me, is more overwhelming. It makes me feel more tired and more boring, actually. But it took me a long time to get really good at it. But I use it a lot, the texts, and I would do the review really careful in e-GMAT, because all the parts, and something that was really good to me was the summary that there is in the review.
In the solutions, each paragraph summary and each sentence what it's me saying. Okay.
Yes, and by the end of my preparation, my summaries were really close to what were in the solution. So I know I was going to. Yeah.
Wow, that's very diligent, by the way.
Yeah, but it's clear, to see. Sometimes I would do my notes, take my notes, and I would look at e-GMAT, and I would see something that I hadn't noticed, and maybe that was the part that made me make a mistake. So I just kept doing and checking the answers, and then I got improving that.
It's just when I hear you say these things, it's just, man, I was like, man, I only wish more students was just as diligent and focused on the process rather than on the outcome, because when you focus on the process, the outcome is automatically there. But if you just keep on looking at the end score, you don't get the outcome, and it just starts to bother you.
Yeah, yes. I think that's it, what you said. You just have to focus in the process.
So, and then let's kind of go to critical reasoning. Critical reasoning was a weakness of yours, right? So,
yes.
So what happened? I mean, because you scored a 90th percentile, so I'm sure you can't do that without doing well in critical reasoning.
Yeah. When I started, practicing and studying, critical reasoning was just kind of logic, but it wasn't really clear for me what logic was being tested there. And I use it a lot in the videos of e-GMAT. You have some kinds of rationale that you can use, and actually that the rationale to just keep going and reappearing in GMAT in different situations in the real exam. So I got good in understanding what was the logic and what was the rationale around the questions. And even though I knew that some choices were really close to reality and might be really close to be correct, I know that wasn't what the logic was asking for, and I would have to go to the and that was really a kind of mistake I would do in critical reasoning. Be between two questions, two answer choices, and go for the wrong. And maybe, but that wasn't what the question was asking. So my improvement was mainly understanding better the questions and the kind of questions in the rationale.
So did you use pre-thinking?
Yes, a lot. Because it actually, when I started, applying the pre-thinking, I thought it would make me lose time. But by the end, it actually saves a lot of time.
Oh, yes.
I would, you can almost answer one medium questions and one easy question. Just you might not even look into the answer choices. You just have to think about the possibilities and what would negate this possibility in case of weakening questions and this kind of thing.
That's great. So let's talk about quant. So after your first attempt, did he kind of really do an introspection and say, okay, these are the 3 areas that I need to improve on in quant?
Yes, actually, I have a lot of areas that I should improve. And it's curious because it was the same kind of difficulties I had in my engineering course and in my school. But for me, I believe the thing that made me go from 42 to 48 was timing. So every mock test I would do was really, really timed and really close to the time I had on GMAT. Obviously, I would, when studying, I would give more time to make hard questions and hard questions and hard mock tests. But timing was really, really an issue for me. So it was almost 2 months just preparing, get better to answer fast, and jumping questions when I thought I wouldn't get it, and so.
Okay, and so that's really good overall. So now you're talking about business schools, and you said you want to apply to schools which are more finance focused. And given your background in M&A, you talked about currently, right? So I mean, we're looking at GSP, we're looking at Stern, we're looking at Columbia, possibly LBS.
Yes.
And I frankly would even say that these are really top schools over here. But if you want to really look at a few other schools, maybe look at Ross, maybe look at Tuck. I know Tuck's really known for consulting, but it also has a really good, decent finance program over there. So I think look at those 2 schools as well. Given that you have to be because of your partner or your girlfriend, you have to be in the US. And Europe's not, which I actually don't understand. Why is Europe not as does she not have as many options in Europe?
For instance, Paris, or I was looking maybe in Siage, but there's nothing. She will probably take a master or something, or postgraduate course related to health, economical health, or global health, or something similar.
So is it the health, or is it the economics part? What is?
No, there is no good course for her in this place. That's the no-go. That's the no-go.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, schools in Europe are far apart, and they're not that really good universities the way they are in the US.
Yes. They're more like a business school.
Yeah, no, I mean, so for example, in US, you'll have good business schools in cities, and those cities will also have other. I mean, New York, for example, will give you everything. Boston will give you everything. For example, similarly in the greater Chicago area, you have GSP Chicago. You have a bunch of other great universities as well. Dartmouth, again, I think has a lot of good colleges over there. It's an Ivy League school. So similarly on the California side with the University of California system, you have lots of good colleges, and pretty much whether you're talking about engineering, medicine, economics, business, and even within engineering, whether you're talking about mechanical, electronics, computer science, I mean, it's all there in California itself. So which is not the case, unfortunately, in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, if you maybe in London, you have good colleges. I think that's one place, but engineering beyond that, I think, is really, really good in Germany, parts of Netherlands. Northern parts of Netherlands is really, really good. Germany, you know, Frankfurt, Berlin, Aachen, they're all very, very good in engineering, but they're not so good in management over there. So Netherlands, similar, Utrecht and all are really, really good in engineering, not so great in management overall. But yeah, that's the downside of Europe. That I would say.
That's true.
So agreed. Then the US probably is a much better, much more conducive destination for you. Given all of that. What about Canada?
Actually, I've never thought about it.
Okay. Think about University of Toronto. I think look at some programs over there. They're not super high ranked as the US, but it's a very nice place to live.
Yeah.
So a very multicultural place to live as well. So, but yes, I mean, I would focus on Canada and the US than Europe.
Seems a nice option. I've lived like a couple months in Vancouver, and I loved it.
Oh, Vancouver is fantastic. I mean, that's if I could go and live. Actually, I should. I should go and live. I mean, I was just thinking, because we are in the self-quarantine mode right now. So it's like, why not? We were thinking about going to Europe if possible and living over there, because the virus rates are much lower. And to really say, just rent a big apartment for 3 months and work from there. But you know, Vancouver is actually just a very similarly great place to go and work from. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So yes, I mean, Vancouver, I don't know of good colleges. I'll just tell you that. Toronto, I do know there are some great universities there. So that's kind of where I didn't recommend Vancouver, but as a place, yes. So yes. Lucas, any other area that I can help you
in? No, I think that's it. You guys really helped me a lot with with everything. Actually, I really want to thank you and all the team. I use it a lot, the customer support. I was a frequently asker of the doubts, and you guys helped me with plans and everything. So thank you.
Okay. Well, that's really, really good to